So, Charles Manson and the Manson family. I'm going to first have you look at some lyrics from the Beatles song Helter Skelter. When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide, where I stop and I turn and I go for a ride, till I get to the bottom and I see you again. Can anybody look at these lyrics, analyze it, see anything special about them? This is an actual question. If anybody sees anything about these lyrics, yeah, that's kind of a trick question. There's nothing special about these lyrics. It is about a slide. Literally, the Beatles even came out. It is about a slide. One man, however, looked at this, Charles Manson looked at this, said, hey, the Beatles, they're my prophets. And this song is about an apocalyptic race war. You know, normal things. So look into why that man is so crazy. We have to look at three things real quick. We have to look at his past. We have to look at the cult he started. And then we have to look at his downfall, the murders of the cult. So starting off with his history, he had a terrible mother. She was young when he was born, which doesn't help. She was an alcoholic, a prostitute, and she was arrested for armed robbery. She did not want him, not in the slightest, and as it says up there, she tried to sell him at that age of the picture for a pint of beer. That's gonna mess you up at a young age. So as he grew up, being already messed up by his mother and his mother raising him, we have him committing petty crimes at ages 13 through 15, and it was stuff like stealing or nothing too heavy, just little things. And because of this, he was placed in an all-boys reformatory school, and he was even manipulative in there. The biggest thing that I forgot to put in my slides or my notes, but was very interesting, was that he could actually convince other students to fight the kids that picked on him for him, but he would not get in trouble because he wasn't the one doing it. He was very manipulative, and that's scary. After being in the reformatory school, he tried to get back with his mother, living with her. She refused. She didn't want him, so he ran away. And he went went west. And a quote from A. Serrato, What You Need to Know About the Manson Family Murders. Manson migrated to Berkeley and then San Francisco, cities that became flooded with young people looking to embark in a new way of life. An older figure among the crowd, he amassed a small group of followers and, in 1968, headed along with several female followers to Los Angeles to pursue a music career, having learned to play the guitar in prison. So, he became a minor celebrity. He had a small following of females, and he got into the whole Hollywood scene. He got famous friends such as Dennis Wilson, who was the drummer of the Beach Boys. He gained ties within the whole Hollywood scene. And Manson actually wrote a song for Dennis that he asked the Beach Boys to sing. The Beach Boys didn't do it. Manson got noticeably more violent after that. Not exactly the most stable dude. He lost ties with his Hollywood after becoming destructive and quite honestly scary, and he moved to San Fernando Valley with his small following of girls that worshipped him, not yet worshipped him, just as a celebrity that he liked, as they liked. And they moved to here, Span Ranch. This became the headquarters or the lair or whatever you want to call it. So the Manson family, they grew. From the 20 girls that were following him as a celebrity, they grew into something terrifying, and there was 100 of followers, both male and female, and they all thought he was Jesus because he told them. He, again, very manipulative, very scary. And of course, with any cult, you're going to have sex and drugs. So, with this cult, there was a small group of women, ages 14 to 28, that were like an inner circle, and I can imagine by the title you can figure out what that inner circle was for. So that inner circle, 14 to 28, Manson was about in his mid-30s at the time. It was kind of gross. So one of the women of the inner circle actually talked to A. Jones in Life as a 14-Year-Old Manson Girl, Orgies, Dumpster Diving, and Sing-Alongs, about her experience in that inner circle. She said, he had a growing group of women. Says, like, we might have had a desire to have Charlie to ourselves. I know I did, but that was secondary. We were there to serve Charlie, and we formed a sisterhood. So, terrifying. And on to the drugs part, LSD was like a way of life. And again, Diana Lake in A. Jones's Life as a 14-Year-Old Manson Girl, Orgies, Dumpster Diving, and Sing-Alongs shares her experience with the drugs. LSD was given out like sacrament. We took turns taking each other's clothes off in a circle. He orchestrated all of it. He even arranged the partners. Very controlling. Again, very scary. So, as he descended more into madness, he, as mentioned beforehand with the apocalyptic race war, started preaching that. Said that blacks were bad. Said that we whites were the best. Terrible. And he said that the cult was actually going to be in a prominent place of power after this apocalyptic race war. He was so manipulative that Diana Lake, I don't actually have a quote for this, she said that she actually was convinced by Charles Manson to hate her old friends just because they weren't white. No prior issues. So, with his cult, with his past and going to the cult, he took it to a whole new level of scary. He sent 7 specific members to kill 5 different people. There was no correlation between them. The only correlation was that woman lived in a house that was previously owned by a person that knew Manson. That's it. No connection. But we can actually look more into who that woman was. Her name was Sharon Tate. She was a famous movie actress. She was killed in her home randomly with her hairstylist and the person that does her nails. I can't remember the job title. And she was 8 months pregnant at the time. So the night after, August 10th, 1969, the same group of 7 people went to the LaBianca family. Now, I have a quote from EPAC, who are the members of the Manson family. They drove to the house of the grocery business executive Lino LaBianca and his wife, Rosemary, in the Los Feliz area of Los Angeles. LaBianca was totally unknown to the Manson family. It was random. Nobody knew why this happened. It baffled the public for years. Just a random couple from the Manson family to kill. So, the murders were easily traced back to Charles Manson, and he was sentenced to death. However, because of the California laws on the death penalty being changed just around that time, he actually was sentenced to life in prison. While in prison, his impact still was present and, again, scary. I'm not going to go away from scary with this man. His impact. People were still sending letters, whether they were already in the cult or they were new-coming teens confused about the world, asking him questions and advice. An old member of the Manson family actually attempted to assassinate President Gerald Ford. This is real. I've never heard of it until this. Just for him. So, hopefully you can see how crazy this man was, with his past leading to the cult, and the cult leading to the murders. A terrible, terrible cause and effect story. So going back to the quote, can you see anything at all that could quite possibly relate to a race war? Yeah, no, didn't think so. Man was crazy.